This is the Big Deal Podcast, brought to you and powered by New Covenant Baptist Church in Albertville, Alabama. And on this podcast, we're asking the question, what's the big deal about all things Bible, theology, and culture? I'm Justin.
I'm Brad.
Welcome to the Big Deal.
Welcome.
Man, welcome back, dude.
Yeah.
It's been weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our dear brother Brad has been serving the country.
That's right.
Spending
your money.
Spending your money.
Now, unless you're overseas.
On a hotel room.
And,
yeah.
You know, fighting pretend enemies.
Yeah. He's been on his annual training for the National Guard.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your tax money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully.
How's the Army doing? Are we doing okay in that department?
You know, we're doing all right. It's a complex world and a complex battle space. And it's just getting scarier and scarier. You think back to the days like when dudes just lined up across from each other and just ran and like smacked each other. It's like
you remember those days, don't you?
Yeah, those were great days. But now then it's super complicated. It was super complicated then, actually. Like, how can we smack these guys with our swords better? How can we trick them more?
Yeah.
What happens if we run at them from the side?
That's the stuff y'all are working on?
Well, you just have to control your battle space. Okay. You have to pick where your fight is. This is the same since day one of fighting. And then
the terrain is different.
The terrain is different because you have 4 dimensions now.
Yeah.
And it's
cyber and space and everything.
You have land, sea, air, and outer space.
Yeah.
And air is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
Tech, but drones.
Drones are, everything.
Super scary, man.
Well, thank you. I'm glad y'all are doing that.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out, you know, so that I don't know, man. Let's just don't do it.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me.
War game is just like let's don't. If there's,
can we not?
Is there just a diplomatic solution to this?
Yeah.
This would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I know. Just imagine a wave of
drones
coming at you with grenades attached to them. Yeah,
you got a swarm of 100,000 drones, which is pretty cheap.
Yeah,
and they all got a AI brain that's looking for your uniform, and it's not good.
I don't like that.
No, I don't.
I don't like that.
No, I don't like it. And now they've got spot. Anyways,
I'll take your word for it. It's bad and scary. We're so it's been a couple weeks on the podcast, and what we're doing is we're doing Theology 101.
Yes,
and we're imagining if we could condense a seminary level theology course down to like podcast format that's accessible, doesn't require you to write 5-page essays. We only read like 5. They were like 15, 20-page essays about theology topics where you don't have to do that. You don't have to read the book.
You know, just so y'all know, the writing of the essay is not so bad. I mean, it's time consuming, but I usually enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
Except they want you to have it in this perfect Turabian format.
That's a format thing. Yeah.
I hate that. Like
I didn't bother. It didn't bother me.
I see. That's the thing about you. You're weird. But
the format didn't bother me. I had like the existential dread building up to those papers.
Really?
Like oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to spend the 4 days in the library. What I hated about research papers was that it's illegal for you to have an original thought.
Yeah,
that's what I hate about them, and that it's
usually heresy. They're trying to save you.
Well, and it's not really about that so much as like you're making connections and stuff. You can't make a connection on your own. You have to find it in the literature. But
we didn't have that as much. I don't guess.
Oh, we had it. It was like hawkish, and
ours was like guys getting out rulers, being like, "Do we have our inch margin? Do we have our our title page?"
They didn't make, and it might be the different schools. Yeah, they didn't make a big deal out of the Turabian format.
Oh, it was like
we had to do it, but it wasn't like
if you have in your reference, your period was out of place and you didn't have a double space after it or whatever, there would be a red marker there.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, bro, I hate this.
Yeah, we didn't. For us, it was the citations.
I get it. Though.
It was like I remember trying to make some points, like some inferences on a paper or whatever, and they're like source. I'm like, it's my inference. I'm the one who did it. Like, I don't have a source. Like, I
am the source.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, I guess another thing was Kate Turabian is the one form. When I was in college, we did something called MLA, which was a whole different way to reference your sources.
Your normal college for Alabama.
And I just hate it. Anyway, let's don't talk about it anymore.
Anyways, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you theology
without Turabian.
Without the Turabian format, without the papers, without having to read all the books.
Yeah.
Now
that way we can plagiarize.
Yeah, we encourage you reading the books. Read the books. There's a bunch of good theology books out there, but maybe you just want to understand the scriptures and you want to understand the major doctrines without having to spend $40,000 on it.
Yeah, maybe you're one of those people that don't read.
Yeah,
like I can't understand it, but it's okay. Some people don't.
Some people don't read. That's what we're trying to do with this series. And so far, we've been tracking through. We tracked through prolegomena, which is like first things, the presumptions, the presuppositions, I should say, that are the foundation of your theology. We talked about bibliology, which is our source for theology. It's the Bible. We talked about humanity, and we talked about sin. And now we're going to be talking about the natural, and we talked about Christology, who Jesus was, and because those are the natural lead-ups to talk about what our conversation is today. And it's soteriology.
Ooh.
Yeah, you like that word?
Love it.
Yeah, that's a fancy way to say salvation. We've discussed the problem when we talk about sin, our doctrine of sin and our doctrine of humanity, is that sin has messed everything up. Mm-hmm. And we need a solution to it. And our doctrine, the scriptures, offer a solution. And we're going to talk about today what that solution is. Hint, a spoiler, disclaimer, it's Jesus. Okay.
What?
Yeah, it is.
I thought it was lambs.
Yeah. But, in order to understand, there's a great question. I love this question that sets up the whole thing really well. And it's kind of funny. It's an interesting question. Are you reading my hat?
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Isn't that fun?
I think I see puffy birds.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
good.
I think it's bird watching.
Yeah.
It's Snoopy. Yeah. I got this for $6 at TJ Maxx. It's like, what a great find. Here's a good question that sets up the whole discussion pretty well is, why did Jesus have to die for our sins?
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't he have made
I forgive you,
or just said I forgive you, just made a declaration? Why couldn't he have built a beautiful guitar as the atonement, or something? Why couldn't he have
only a guitar player would come up with that.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well, why was it death? Yeah. And what's the deal with resurrection and stuff? Why couldn't it have been something else? Why couldn't it have been a declaration? Why did any of those things have to happen? Why did Jesus have to come, period? Why couldn't God from heaven just say forgiveness for those who believe?
Yeah.
And so those are really important questions that really set up the necessity of salvation. Like, why all these things? And they're questions that have haunted people. Like, there are a lot of people that have great issue with the death of Christ, even in the modern era. Do you remember that controversy that came up a couple of years ago with I can't remember what denomination did this, but it's the hymn "In Christ Alone." They hated the line. It's in the second verse. Gosh, now I can't. Now I'm bringing it up. I can't. I thought you were going to be able to just riff off it. In Christ alone, lyrics.
I'm having to go
wrath
through those
of God. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Was satisfied.
Yeah, that's right. They hate that line. They say in verse 2, in Christ alone, who took on flesh, fullness of God and helpless babe. Where's it at?
And on that cross, as Jesus
So
died,
on that cross,
the wrath of God was satisfied.
And they changed it to the love of God was satisfied.
What?
And there's this hesitancy to describe Jesus enduring God's wrath.
Yeah.
And they talk about it as like divine child abuse and stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, they've been doing that for a while.
I know. That's the part of this controversy. It's interesting. So people have the same issue of like, wait a second.
We're not even supposed to spank our children.
Yeah. And why did Jesus have to die?
Yeah.
Is that the whole center of it? And what kind of death was it? Was God's wrath involved, or was this just a feature of the Roman justice system? It was a wrongful death, both in terms of his own righteousness. He didn't do anything wrong, but also like God didn't want him to die. You know, there are like people have lots of kind of wild things to say and bring up about it. We're going to get into it today. We're going to talk about why Jesus had to die on the podcast. So I think to start, we got to go back to the beginning. Got to go back to Genesis chapter 3. And this is why we did the doctrine of humanity and the doctrine of sin first on the podcast. The doctrine of humanity, our findings were that humans are made in the image of God, put on this earth to represent God, to rule over it, to be
stewards.
Yeah, stewards. The kings and queens over the creation. Mm-hmm. We had a job to do. And the first story about humans is them failing to do the job in Genesis chapter 3. They don't crush this serpent who is tempting them to disobey God. They don't deal with it, right? And instead of destroying the serpent, they listen to it and they sin against God. And now we have this whole sin problem in the world.
But as I say every time this pops up, it's not framed in the language of sin. It's framed in the language of wisdom. And so
that's right.
It is the serpent. If you look in chapter 3, it says he was the wisest of all the creatures. It may say craftiest in your translation. But this word wisdom keeps popping up in that message because it says when Eve saw that the fruit was good to eat and able to make one wise, she took it and ate the fruit. So it's this quest for wisdom outside of the will of God, which results in foolishness and which results in death. So first of all, the reason that Jesus had to die and he didn't get to make a guitar is because the wage of sin and foolishness, the wages of foolishness is death. It kills everything.
That's what you learn in Genesis 3.
Yeah, well, it's what you learn in your life every day.
I just mean in the text.
Yeah.
Like God tells him, like, for on the day that you eat of it, you will die. Dying, you will die, in Genesis chapter 2.
Dying, you shall surely die.
And when in Genesis chapter 3, as Eve is tempted by the serpent and Adam follows suit, and they both eat the fruit, and these curses come about. After the curses, is something very interesting that's said to Adam and Eve at the end of it. Man, my Logos just shut down.
Oh, that's why you can't trust tech.
Yeah. I'm going to pull it up.
EMP pulse.
It's coming. All right, here we go. It's fast now, man. The tech has gotten so fast. It used to take forever to load up, and now it's instantaneous. It says... the Lord God said, since the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil, he must not reach out, take from the tree of life, eat, and live forever. So the Lord God sent him away from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he was taken. He drove the man out and stationed the cherubim and the flaming whirling sword east of the Garden of Eden to guard the way to the tree of life. So they had access to this tree of life, and they no longer do, right? And this is both. So now we've already we have this hint of like something is broken now in the relationship with humans and God, but now we have the assurance of death. Like they will not take and eat of the tree of life and live forever. They're gonna die.
Yeah.
They have an expiration date. All the humans do. from now on.
You got to get rid of them.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, that's so true. Like what?
Yeah.
How could you do you expect them to get better as time goes on?
No, they get worse.
They get worse. All humans get worse. There's a really interesting sci-fi that came out a couple years ago. It was based on a book called what was it? It's a classic. It's a sci-fi classic. Something about robots sleeping. Have you heard of that one?
Oh, you talking about Blade Runner?
Was that it? No, I'm thinking of a
Electric
different one.
Sheep.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about a different one then. It wasn't Blade Runner. It was, but the show that they produced from this novel was called like Altered Carbon. It's not a recommendation. It's pretty brutal. A lot of violence. Is a Netflix show, but what the premise is that this technology is allowing people to essentially just keep trading bodies and live for a very long time. And
Emilio Estevez was in a movie like that one time.
I really,
Yeah.
the commentary on it, like the cultural commentary from the sci-fi is, it just gets way worse. People their depravity becomes such that it's like, these are not even real humans anymore. They are so evil and bad because they've kept on living.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
The Magicians is kind of like this. A lot of commentaries on it. Like
Yeah.
if you have ultimate power and you can do magic and you can get anything you want, how long until you're just ultimately debauched? Like
Yeah.
if the more power, the more time. Because, if you got a guy that lives 650 years and he gets to keep all his resources all that time and everybody else is croaking out at like 100, what kind of dude do you think that's going to be? What would the world be like if Putin lived to be 800?
Yeah, they are really bad.
Yeah,
you get really bad.
Yeah,
and this is the proof. Is like this is outside of the glorious grace of God. People generally, as they get older, do not become more joyful.
In general,
like there's some bitter
old people,
hateful old people.
Not
right?
me. I'm getting better and better. Like
Right.
the rising of the sun, baby. It's hottest at noonday.
So you see, I've seen a lot of it, right? Plenty bitter, like cranky old people. Not all of them, especially when you bring in the grace of God and His sanctifying work in people's life.
Look, let's just talk about the sin, and like, because somebody might be listening, going, "I know an old guy who's real happy." Look,
they're out there.
I want to talk about sin as a contagion. If we want to talk about it this way, so you think the wages of sin is death? The Bible says that, and people almost always think it's physically dying. Yeah. Like if you sin, the wage is physical death. That can't be all that it means, because God said, in the day that you eat this fruit, dying you shall surely die. And they eat it, and guess what? They live like 900 years. Yeah. So they didn't die. A lot of people say that. Yeah. It's like, well, they didn't die. It's like, yes, they did. Not only did they die, they died a spiritual death. They died to innocence. They died to one another, because immediately they start hiding from each other. Their relationship died, began dying, and everything they touch starts dying, because they start screwing up everything. Their kids die. They don't have the wisdom to be able to raise their children so they don't bash each other in the head with rocks. Sin is a contagion. It makes you stupid. It makes you idiotic. And how you know this is, look at the stats of our country, or any country for that matter. Let's say you're not on crystal meth. Okay, you're not on it. And you
imagine
just imagine that you're not. And you think about someone who is. Do you think, what a wise person? No. You probably think, how could you be so stupid and do that? What is the wages of crystal meth?
Death.
Well, the day they take crystal meth, do they die? Sometimes. But a lot of times they don't.
Yeah.
But what do they kill? They kill their finances. They kill their relationships. They kill wherever they used to live, and now they're like holed up in some abandoned mall somewhere. They kill their bodies. This is how sin is a contagion. It is a drug, and it makes you nuts. Sin makes you stupid. And if you talk to them, they'll have every kind of excuse as to why they're addicted to this substance. I'm just picking on crystal meth. You can pick anything, money, whatever. You say, how could money do that? Well, how many people have murdered their families, not physically, but killed their marriage, killed their relationship with their kids because all they can think about is making another dollar that they're not even going to live to spend.
Yeah.
And so anything, we're so foolish. Sin brings death.
And that's what leads us to talk about justice in it. Like,
in fact,
yeah,
sin is so bad. If a truly righteous man appeared, we would kill him.
Proof.
You know who said that?
Yeah.
They were talking about Socrates. That's why they killed Socrates, because he was too righteous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
The early church fathers used to say it was kind of a that Greek
Yeah,
philosophy
they love that. Yeah.
prepared the Gentiles for Jesus as the Old Testament did. I don't buy it, but they used to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the preparation. It's more like I
I think
all truth
Aristotle
is God's
said that
truth.
about Socrates.
Yeah. So that brings us to talk about justice in its role in the whole salvation conversation, because what we see in Genesis 3 is God saying, like, I'm not going to let you guys live forever. You got to die for what you've done. And
after you've destroyed everything around you, then you'll die.
Yeah, and that's part of God being good. Death is part of God being good. How could a good king allow rebels to live forever and destroy forever? Like you would say, if in the United States, our government massively, wholeheartedly allowed criminals to go free, walk free, and create chaos, death, murder, rape, all those things.
And every time they came to court, the judge was just like, the United States forgives you.
Yeah. And just keep on going.
It doesn't matter if you kill this guy's kid.
And here's a pill that allows you to live forever, and so you can keep on doing this forever. You'd say that's a wicked, evil government.
It's crazy.
Right? And
super naive at best.
Yeah. And God says, well, I'm not going to let you live forever. I'm going to kill you. Okay? You got to die. Like, you're not going to last forever. And so there is the justice of God against sin. The wages of sin is death. That's why the wages of sin is death.
That's why Jesus couldn't build a guitar.
Yeah. Well, and that sets up the whole story of the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Yeah.
Is that there is, like, death is haunting humans.
It's not just haunting, it's reigning.
Yes.
Over everything in earth.
You're all going to die. You all have to die. You can't, you cannot live on. And sometimes God brings that cataclysmically, like with the flood, with the fire of Sodom and Gomorrah, and those things. Sometimes, like, the death is coming right now for all of you. Plague, yep. Oh,
famine.
You think about, like, the plagues of Egypt. You think about the book of Numbers, in God's justice against Israel for not following him into the land of Canaan. The book of Numbers is just a long story of God's justice against Israel. Just bam, bam, death, 20,000 died, 20,000 died, 20,000 died.
I know.
Yeah.
It's but people don't like to talk about that with God. People want a celestial Santa Claus, and they can just go and sit in his lap and ask for presents.
That's right. Death is our just dessert. Okay. It is. It is coming for every single one of us. The physical death for sure is. As the scriptures unfold, death starts being talked about in some different ways. You have Jesus talks about, lots of things concerning death. He says things like, don't be afraid of the ones who can just kill your body. Mm-hmm. He says you need to be afraid of the one who
can kill your body and throw you into hell.
Yes. And you have
the second death.
That's in Revelation. It's talked about as the second death. You have Paul, who talks about the wages of sin is death. You have him say, you are dead in your trespasses and sins. You are already dead in your trespasses and sins. And apart from Christ, who would raise you from that death. And so there's a death that's happening right now to you, even if you are breathing.
Yep. There's a lot of ways the Bible describes your condition. Dead, sick, lost.
Yep.
It's all, none of it's good. It's never your original condition is not good, that you have the poison of serpents under your tongue. It's just not good.
Yeah.
We're not in a good spot. Now, you might be listening and you think, well, you're just making everybody sound horrible. No, I know that there are great, shiny, good things about most people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people do stuff. They still have this shattered remnant of the image of God in them, and they do beautiful, lovely things. I get that. But if you take the grand scope of people's lives, the things that they've done in evil and the things that they've done for good, it's not a great outcome. No. Now, but we're talking a lot about sin. Let's talk about salvation.
Well, yeah.
How people get saved in the Old Testament from all this?
That's right. So you have death. Death is the consequences of sin, and you pretty early on you get some really interesting things happening. You don't get a lot of explanation early though. You have these offerings that are given by Cain and Abel. You have these offerings that are given by Abraham, and you learn that when Abraham does it, he's like killing rams and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
And making offerings to Melchizedek and stuff with the 10th of everything.
Yeah.
And then whenever you get to Moses, you have him receiving God's law, and part of God's law is this tent called the tabernacle, and they're supposed to go in this place,
the tent of meeting,
and they just kill tons of animals in there.
What's interesting though is from the very first boys, the very first murder, Cain and Abel, they offered sacrifice to God.
Yeah.
Where did God tell them to do that?
Oh, it's outside of Eden or something.
Yeah, there's no recorded like this is what you should do.
Okay.
We just see them doing it.
Yeah.
It's the same. There's
no temple.
There's no law of sacrifice until Moses.
Yeah.
So even when Abraham's making his sacrifice and these things are happening, it's not because Moses said it.
That's right.
He was doing it before the law of Moses. Uh-huh. And in fact, the law of Moses changes how you do sacrifice through the story. At first, every family was supposed to build an altar.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Every family was supposed to build an altar. You weren't supposed to cut it. You weren't supposed to shape the stones. You're supposed to have found stones.
Yeah.
And you stack you an altar, and every dad was supposed to go offer
It was supposed to be pretty easy in that sense. Like, you're not building monuments here.
No.
You're like the stones you find on the ground.
He took it from them.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't behave.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to centralize this thing and have a whole group of people in charge of making sure they know how to do it. Because these guys are going to go after idols. If I it's going to be a mess. Mm-hmm. Like I can't trust them to even do this.
Yeah.
But like sacrifice is hardwired, it seems, into the human psyche. It's not just like pagans do it. Mm-hmm. Now I think they're doing it wrong, of course.
Yeah.
But this concept of sacrifice to gain the favor of God or whatever they're thinking, the pagans, is ubiquitous almost throughout the world. Yeah,
and that's very interesting. Like, I think sociologically it's like interesting, but theologically, it's because it's hardwired. Because you all know the wages of sin is death.
There's a debt owed. Yeah. Something's wrong.
And in sacrifice,
God is mad at me, and it must be appeased.
That's right. Sacrifice is, it is tough for the modern audience.
Oh, yeah.
Sacrifice in any way.
Bro, we can't even have chicken without people getting upset.
That's right.
In a chicken plant, they have to shock the chickens before they cut their throats now because it's cruel to kill them without being knocked out. So they go through this conveyor belt where they get splashed with water. They hit this gate that's like electrified, knocks them out, and then their throats get cut.
Yeah.
It costs thousands and thousands of dollars to humanely. I'm not saying we should be inhumane. I'm just saying people have a serious problem with death, even for their food.
Oh, yeah, they
much
do.
less the idea of laying a lamb down and cutting its throat.
And it's so hard for a lot of the modern readers of the Bible to look at sacrifice and not just see like some kind of barbarism. This is just it's just bad and old and bad.
Old and bad.
And but it lacks appreciation in a lot of ways for.
Well, if you hate it, you should thank a Christian.
Yeah, that's right. But you should also think to yourself,
yeah.
What do you think that they loved it?
Yeah, no.
It's like you're missing the point. It was supposed to be terrible.
They don't call it a sacrifice for nothing.
Yeah, it was terrible. It's expensive.
Yes,
and terrible and bloody. You're supposed the whole time this is happening. You're supposed to be looking at that lamb, thinking it should be me.
Yes, the whole thing. If you look in, I think it's the first of Numbers, actually, it gives this. It's like, you take your sacrifice to the priest for your salvation, right? For your people, your lamb. You lay your hands on its head, and you confess your sin before the priest. And the minute you do that, he cuts its throat and it dies. And then he catches its blood, and he throws it on the altar.
And on you.
And he puts it on his earlobe and his and his thumb and his big toe. Some stuff happens.
You're covered it.
You are. It is your propitiation. It is your atoning sacrifice.
Yep.
And you had to do this.
Yep.
To be reminded of the severity of your sin.
Sin is bad. That you're supposed to think when you get like 20 chapters about the beauty of the tabernacle being built and all the wonderful things that happen on it. And the very first thing that happens in the tabernacle is just a bloodbath. Thousands of animals like murdered, and you're all supposed to be thinking it should be you.
How do we need to be saved? Some people might be listening and they think my sin is not that bad.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know the consequences of your sin, actually. I remember about 15, 20 years ago, I was a young guy, and I could totally relate to this. There was a group of teenagers that wanted a stop sign to hang up in their bedroom. Like, sometimes people steal street signs and stuff. So these kids took down a stop sign, they took it off, and they stole it. And sometime later, a car came through there, and there was no stop sign, so they didn't know to stop. So they just blew through it, and they got hit by a car who didn't have to stop, and it killed them. And guess what those kids went to? Prison.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't think their little prank of stealing that stop sign was that bad. And on the surface of it, you might think, I get it. I see how some 16, 17, 18-year-old kids could think, we'll take this stop sign. It's not a big deal. It killed somebody. You don't know what your lie did. You don't know what your lie did. You don't know what your burst of unrighteous anger did to somebody's brain. Yeah. You don't know what happened when you made fun of or slightly bullied a kid in school. You don't know. Because you're sin sick, you don't know the consequences of your sin. But if you could see the direction that the ball rolled after your sin affected it, you might be like, "Ooh." Well,
it's because you're immersed in it. So this is a worthwhile exercise to imagine a world without sin, and imagine now the most petty small sin you think of that you could do. And you did that in this sinless world. And how great of a villain you would be because of it.
Horrific.
A horrific villain.
The best thing is...
The first liar.
Yeah.
Like, everyone always hears truth. They never hear lies. And you're the one to bring trustworthiness crashing to the ground.
Yes. It's like, imagine, if you have an innocent world, it's like a place full of 6-year-old toddlers, and you're an adult, and you're just taking their food and doing whatever you want.
Just kicking everyone in the head, man.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's bad.
It's super bad.
You lack perspective.
What happens is, TikTok teaches us this. This is how insane sin is. So you can get a video, and we love this. So you see some, we call them Karens now. Well, I feel bad for good women named Karen.
My sister's named Karen.
Oh, bless her heart.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But, they come up and they're like, and they're just out of line. Absolutely out of line. Yeah. And every once in a while, they'll catch it. Somehow smack them. Or they'll get arrested thinking the other guy's going to get arrested. And what happens? Everybody on TikTok, all the reels are like, yeah, take that, Karen. Because you're watching it knowing she's the bad guy, right? Guess what she doesn't think?
She's the bad guy.
She thinks she's the good guy.
Yeah.
She thinks she's holding things in place and keeping the rules and doing all this stuff because that's what sin does. You got to be saved from that stuff. You got to be safe from it. It's killing stuff.
Yeah, it is.
People that don't let boys fish in a pond. I mean, what the heck is wrong with you, man? You going to go punch a 15-year-old because he's fishing in your pond?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on, man. Come on. What are we doing?
Yeah, and so you have God's justice on sin, which is death, and you have the sacrificial system, which reenacts death, your death.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be sitting there staring down your death as the sacrifice is made. And you get some interesting Bible words that are used to talk about that. Sacrifice is one of them. Offering is one of them.
Yeah.
And then we have some like more technical words like atonement, propitiation, and expiation.
Yes.
All right.
And a fuss about whether it should be expiation or propitiation.
And like which one is the right even translation for but there's like technical theology words.
Super hard.
And you'll have a range of those kinds of translations in modern translations. Like I think some of the popular ones are like Romans 3 and which direction you're going to go with like translating what's that, 325 or something like that. You'll have atoning sacrifice. You'll have a propitiation as a translation, and then you'll have people that talk about expiation.
Yeah, and the reason that these are all argued about is because it makes a difference.
It does.
So an expiation means to cleanse you from sin or guilt, right? That's an expiation. And that's a good word.
Yeah.
Propitiation means to cleanse. This is what they say, to cleanse you from sin and put you in proper fellowship.
Yeah.
Now, there's a difference in those two things.
Yeah.
There's an addition, right, to propitiation, where not only are you expunged of guilt, but you're put in a proper relationship. Atoning sacrifice, I'm not sure.
What is atonement?
I'm not even sure.
Yeah, it's difficult.
It's difficult because think about this. When atonement's used in the Old Testament, sometimes there are atoning sacrifices made for the entire country.
Yeah.
On the day of Yom Kippur.
Yeah, the Day of Atonement.
The Day of Atonement. Yeah. So the priest goes and he makes atonement for all of Israel. Do you think that means all of Israel was saved?
Right.
Or was it only for the elect?
Yeah.
No, it says it was for the whole country.
Yeah.
Also, there's this strange law. You can look it up. I forgot where it is, but the Google machine will help you. Yeah. But it talks about if you're out in the field or you're somewhere and you find a dead body and somebody killed them.
Yeah.
You don't know who did it. Y'all do an investigation of the village and like, I didn't do it. Nobody knows who did it. Nobody knows who killed this guy. You know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to make an atoning sacrifice for that guy so that God's plagues won't visit the land for this unsolved mystery. Now, if you do an atoning sacrifice for a murdered person, this poor murdered person, do you think that means the murderer got atoned for? Well, why are they having to offer sacrifice? They didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why are they? It's like, okay, so somebody I don't know went out and murdered this guy. I didn't do nothing. Mm-hmm. But if we don't offer an atoning sacrifice, God's going to curse me.
Yep.
Why?
The nation.
The whole, we may not get no rain.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, because the effect of sin is a hand grenade. If you just start overlooking this stuff and you start raising up people, there's this idea of like community uncleanness. Like when Achan, they're coming out of the Jericho, and God says, destroy everything, don't take nothing. It's totally under the ban. Burn everything. If a dog barks at you, kill it. Every single thing. And this dude named Achan's like, hey man, this is pretty cool. Purple silk and a little gold. I'm going to take it. Mm-hmm. And he buries it in his tent. And God causes the whole community to get killed at the Battle of Ai. Mm-hmm. And Joshua comes home and he's like, God, what are you doing? Why are we dying out here? And he's like, somebody sinned.
Yeah.
Somebody sinned. And so they have to draw lots. And finally Achan comes up. And the reason I remember this so well is because one time when I was a kid, I was a student pastor intern. And my wonderful pastor, who's a great guy, had it memorized in the King James, and the name of his sermon was Achan Coveted the Booty.
Oh, no.
So I'm sitting there with all these students. He kept saying, Achan coveted the booty, and all the students were Anyway, it helped me remember it. Anyways, why did Israel all have to suffer because of the sin of that guy?
Yeah.
It's because sin pollutes the community.
Yep.
You have to remove the evil from amongst you.
Yeah.
It's a serious thing. And if you don't take care of it, then the whole community suffers.
Yep. And so the atonement is being made on behalf of the entire community, the entire nation. And so you get some really interesting distinctions that come from that.
Yeah, it's like when a school closes down because they get a few kids with the flu.
Yep.
They have to go in there and sanitize the whole building.
Yeah.
Right? Not that it works that great, but a few people can spread this. Paul says it spreads like gangrene.
Yeah.
You gotta take care of it.
You got to take care of it. So the question comes up is, did those sacrifices spiritually and eternally save the people of Israel in the Old Testament?
Yes, no.
Yeah, and that it's a complex little deal, isn't it?
So we learned from Abraham that he was justified by faith and not by his works, right?
Yeah.
But then the question pops up then, if he didn't offer the sacrifices, or if you had the faith of Abraham and you're just like, well, look, I've got faith like Abraham. I don't have to go offer sacrifice on the Passover. I'm going to be fine. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, you won't.
Yeah.
No, you won't.
Because part of obedience.
The faith works.
Yeah.
The
faith works.
The faith works.
It produces obedience.
You do what God tells you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not so that you can be saved, but because you believe God.
Yep. That's right. Yeah. And so you have this from the get-go, Genesis 12. You have, well, it's actually 15 is when it says, Genesis 15 is when he says his faith was credited to him as righteousness.
Yeah.
That's your directive, that faith in God is the producer of justification, righteousness.
Yeah,
what makes you right before God.
Paul is always arguing that. Yep. He uses Abraham. He says, your soteriology, your salvation, you have to believe like Abraham, he will be your father.
Yep.
It is his faith that saved him before he did the works. Faith.
Yep.
And he's trying to combat this idea that you can merit your salvation by your works. That if I'll go offer my sacrifice, if I'll do circumcision, if I'll obey the law of God, then I will be good. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, that's backwards. You obey the law of God because you love and believe him. Well, James comes at it from the other side. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, Paul's taught all these guys correctly that if they will believe, they'll be saved. Yeah. But he's like, brother, I'm telling you, if your faith is not the kind that results in the obedience to God, your faith is dead and it's not real. It's not faith real. Without works is dead. And then he uses the same guy, Abraham. Mm-hmm. He said, did not Abraham go and offer up Isaac? If he hadn't done that, he wouldn't have been a faithful guy and he wouldn't have been saved.
Yeah.
And so people try to make, James and Paul just don't agree on the nature of salvation.
They 100% do.
They absolutely agree on salvation. Paul read James like, after I wrote those flipping Galatians, they went too far.
That's right.
I don't know.
And so you have the questions did the atoning sacrifice save Israel? And the answer is like, well, if they were faithful. Yes. Like why are they doing it? Or what benefit is the atonement to them?
You can see this in Isaiah and other prophets.
Yeah.
Because by the way, if you got this idea that Israel was doing good most of the time, you're wrong. They were doing bad most of the time. Every once in a while they did right.
Yeah.
But so we agree, I think. The Bible teaches that these guys had to go do this stuff and they had to trust God first, and then they did it. But Isaiah and the other prophets are like, I'm tired of your stinking sacrifices. Don't defile my altar.
That's right.
Don't bring anything else. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Don't bring it.
Yeah.
Because what did I actually want? I wanted you to do justice and to love mercy and to walk humbly with God, and you've polluted my altar with these stinking sacrifices because you think that through them, right, that you're going to know me. It's like, I can do whatever I want. I'll just go bring a lamb and God will take care of it. It's like, that is not the point of this sacrificial system. It is to point to the once for all sacrifice, but also to continually remind you that the wages of your sin is death. Yeah. And that you need a cover for that, and that I'm going to take care of it. And instead, you've turned it into this weird rigmarole where you think, oh, I'm circumcised on the 8th day. I'm of the tribe of Benjamin. I'm a Pharisee of Pharisees. My Jewish lineage goes all the way back to Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham. I'm totally good. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What?
Have you heard the song by John Foreman? You know who John Foreman is?
No.
Switchfoot.
Oh yeah.
He has like solo projects and stuff too. They're really good, well written stuff, and he's got this song that's based off those prophets and stuff. I think it's on the was it Summer or something? I don't know. It's called Instead of a Show, and he's like riffing on all those prophetic things about sacrifice. I hate your noisy, or I hate all your show and pretense, the hypocrisy of your praise, the hypocrisy of your festivals. I hate all your show. Away with your noisy worship, away with your noisy hymns. I stop up my ears when you're singing them. I hate all your show. And it's like a modern critique of like heartless evangelical worship. But because it's the same thing that was happening back then, is that you would have, sure, the motions of sacrifice and stuff are happening, but the only faithful people are this like righteous remnant school of prophets, and everyone else is worshiping the Baals, and the Ashtaroth poles and stuff.
Oh, they're just sacrificing to everything,
anything
that
would make
like,
it rain.
Help us.
Yeah,
make it rain.
Or
just like I need to assuage this weird sense of guilt I have for adultery.
Yeah, that's right. And Baal lets me still go visit the prostitutes.
Yeah.
Man,
I was reading it. I get this archaeology stuff. I love archaeology stuff, and they're digging up these people that died like 5,000 years ago, and they're doing the little DNA extractions. It finds out, this girl's dad is the father of her son.
What? This girl's dad?
Thousands of years ago, they're doing this crazy, horrible stuff, and it's like they're so excited to find this tomb, and it's like, oh man, this is straight incest. What? It's like every time they dig up something, people are misbehaving almost always.
It's bad, man.
When we dig up stuff, it's usually, when we found these 5 kids, and turns out they were all bound up and probably ritually sacrificed and thrown in a hole. It's like, what?
Yeah.
The bog people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
all of them are sacrifices.
Yeah, pretty much sacrifices.
Yeah.
Or at least the best case scenario is capital punishment. Highly unlikely because of the people in there. It's just, we're bad, dude. Mm-hmm. I went to Cozumel.
Yeah.
Because I'm rich, I got to go on a cruise. And we went to these gorgeous big old temples they have there that they dug out of the jungle.
Pyramids and stuff.
Pyramids. Like, wow, look at this peak of human ingenuity and marvel. And man, the is that Mexico?
Yeah.
Cozumel. Yeah,
Cozumel's
it's funny.
Mexico.
Our guide said, what's funny is they got these in Egypt, and they say the aliens built them.
Mm-hmm.
We got them here in Cozumel. Nobody wonders who built them because Mexicans get it done.
That's funny.
I didn't tell that joke. They did. Anyway, so you find this great pyramid,
funny.
And what was it for?
Oh, sacrifice.
They were killing
human
people.
Sacrifice.
They would kill them and throw them off the side of this thing by the thousands.
Yeah.
And so they used to read these accounts of DeSoto coming in and going, these people are terrible. And it was like, this is just white colonialism coming in here with a reason. We don't have any evidence of this. And then they start digging up mass graves, thousands and thousands of people that they used to kill. I was like, well, maybe they were. Maybe they were. Hernando de Soto or whoever the other guy was that went down there.
Cortez
found it all. Apocalypto.
De Soto was in the
Alabama.
in North America. Yep.
In fact, Andrew Jackson came through here too, right through here.
Yeah.
We got an Andrew Jackson Trail now. Historic trail.
He's from the South, wasn't he?
Tennessee.
Louisiana or Tennessee.
He came through here. I guess he was chasing the Seminoles or something. But the Jackson Heights neighborhood is where he camped. Isn't that
right?
wild?
Here?
Yeah.
Whoa.
In Gunnersville.
Wow.
Yeah, right by my house is where he came through.
How about that?
Yeah, it's a trail now. It says Jackson's Trail. I don't know what he was up to. I think he was chasing Native Americans with Native Americans to have war. I don't know.
Oh, man. All right.
Anyway, it's war
Big
all the
fun,
way back to the start.
Yeah, that's true.
Because of sin.
Yeah, and because of sin. And so, bring it back to atonement in salvation. And you have this atonement that is like a covering of some sort. It is in some way, like the way you get it in Exodus is if you don't do this, God's telling, if you don't do this, I'm bringing the hammer.
Yeah.
Like this is what is staying my hand from your immediate judgment.
Yeah.
Is atonement. And that's the conversation like Exodus 30-ish around there is, and then they start doing the sacrifices.
You might think of the Old Testament sacrificial system, the Old Testament atonement, like a Band-Aid almost. So you've got a really bad wound, and they're like, hey, we're going to wrap this thing, and we're going to put a big Band-Aid on it, but you're going to have surgery. Mm-hmm. But this will keep you from dying until we can actually address the issue. That's what the Old Testament atonement did.
Yeah.
It's like, we've got help is on the way, but right now we're doing a spiritual triage until we can get you the antibiotics and the cure you need to fix this thing and the surgery, which is Jesus.
That's right. So Romans 3:20, we'll start in 23, is the explanation of this, right? It says, for all have sinned and lack the glory of God or fall short of the glory of God. They are justified freely. So talking about people who believe, are justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus. God presented him, and here's the word, as the atonement, the mercy seat, the propitiation, by his blood through faith to demonstrate his righteousness, because in his restraint, God passed over the sins previously committed. God presented him to demonstrate his righteousness at the present time so that he would be just and justify the one who has faith in Jesus. So God has passed over sins, like countless sins, and in this sacrificial system.
Yeah.
They're passed
you got
over.
the Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
Until it can be taken care of.
And that's intentional. The redemption there and the passed over, those are intentional words that remind you of the Exodus. So the redemption is freedom. That's what that word means, freedom, like the redemption price for a slave. Well, that's what happens in the Exodus. They're redeemed from their slavery, bought back by God from their slavery. And the pinnacle moment of that is the Passover feast, where you have like the big prototype of the sacrificial system is made, where they are sacrificing these lambs, putting the blood on the doorposts. That is guaranteeing them that God is going to pass over their home in his judgment. That judgment's not going to come to you because of your sin. Now, what's interesting is he tells all the Israelites, do not go outside during this.
Yeah.
You're going to get toast if you die. If you go outside, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Because you won't have this blood covering you.
Here's another thought experiment on it. Let's say you got 10 people huddled up in the house, and one of those guys is like, I think this ain't going to work. This ain't going to work. Mm-hmm. Did it work anyway?
Yeah.
It did work anyway.
It did.
Yeah. So the thing is that there are ways in which the sacrifice of Christ works in some ways for even people who don't believe it. It
worked back then.
Yeah.
It worked through the Day of Atonement, the sacrificial system for all of Israel. It stayed the just hand of God against that nation. Mm-hmm. In the same way, it works through Christ too.
Yes.
That there's atonement made for the world.
Yeah.
Like God, and it is, and that's why mercy seat is actually, I really like mercy seat. And it describes
the mercy seat is where the tips of the wings of the seraphim come together over the ark, where it kind of makes a throne.
Yeah.
It's where God's presence lived. That was called the mercy seat.
Yep. And that's what they would.
Was it seraphim or cherubim?
Cherubim. And it would, the sacrifice on the Day of Atonement would be like the blood would be sprayed all over it. It'd be like they'd be covered in blood. The mercy would be covered in blood. And here you have Jesus doing it. Mm-hmm. Jesus is presented as the mercy seat or by his blood. And so you have Jesus, who is, his sacrifice is doing the same thing. It's staying the just hand of God against sin. The question still goes back to, well, does that mean then that all the world is saved? And our answer is no, in the same way that it didn't happen in the Old Testament, unless you were faithful, unless you were a person of faith. The atonement is about mercy. It's about time. It's when God tells him, if I were to go with you, I would wipe out all of you. And so I don't do that. You're going to get this tabernacle and this sacrificial system.
Yeah.
Right. That's the same thing. And so atonement is God being merciful and giving people time, giving the opportunity to repent.
There is the atoning sacrifice of Messiah has a net positive on the whole world, even for those who don't believe. There are mercies of God available and active, just like the one guy who was in the house full of people in the Exodus who said, I don't believe in any of this stuff. Yeah. And it still worked for him.
And that's the explanation for, 1 John 2:2, right? That Jesus is the atoning sacrifice, not only for believers, but for the sins of the whole world. Mm-hmm.
This is why, a lot of times Protestants wonder where this stuff comes up. Like, how can the Roman Catholic Church say that the Lord's Supper works from the work performed? Ex opere operato, from the work performed.
Gracious,
it's like what do you mean it works even if they don't have faith? It's like, well, it's not coming out of the void. There's some stuff here that you should consider.
Yeah.
That there is a mercy offered even to the unbelieving from the work performed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And the evidence of that is you're not dead right now. You're not dead.
You haven't been judged for the stop sign removal.
That's right. You're not dead. You're alive. And thus you're in the mercy of God right now. You've been given great mercies and graces by your ability to be alive. You have an opportunity to be confronted with the gospel and believe, to turn from your sins and believe, if you have breath right now. And that's what atonement secures. Atonement is not salvation.
No.
It's not. There are other words.
Atonement is also not election.
It's not.
People conflate it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not.
And we're not going to have time to get into all of that today. So this will be this is our first conversation. We're going to have an episode 2 of this where we talk about what salvation is. Mm-hmm. But so far what we have is we have faithfulness with Abraham, right? And we have faithful people throughout who believe God, trust God. We have an atonement that's instituted to stay the just hand of God. It's his plan to do that. It's a mercy given by God to his people to shield them from the wrath that they deserve and to remind them of sin, to put sin directly, to rub their nose in their sin is basically what it's for.
Look at it. That's actually what death is for too.
Yeah.
To consider your ways in the judgment coming.
Yeah.
Like if you had no concept of ever not dying, and you were just going to continue as you are until God returned, the odds of you considering your way gets drastically lower.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what we have so far. Next week, I guess we'll talk about what then salvation is. Like what are the words the New Testament used to talk about what Jesus did to secure your eternal salvation? Because right now we have death, we have physical death, we have some kind of spiritual death, and we have atonement that's keeping us from a physical death. Mm-hmm. It's keeping us from that, right?
Yeah.
Or at least offering us a mercy while you're here on earth, until that physical death is going to take place. What's going to take care of this spiritual death?
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about, I guess, next week on the podcast. Because we're already gone an hour. That's probably pretty good.
That's pretty good. Look, Jesus is helping you right now, even if you don't like him or believe in him.
Yeah.
He is, for real.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're listening to this for, but probably it's a mercy of God.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. Well, hey, guys, thank y'all so much for listening. This is Soteriology Part 1. We'll get to Part 2 next week. We'll talk about salvation, all the words that are used in the New Testament, talk about that and what it means, and continue discussion on why Jesus had to die for your sins. We'll see you next week.